better through the pain. But look at us now, honest and better. Have we seen our finest hour? Good times surely will come. All I know is people talk without listening. What I'm saying is life's too short to live in these extremes. Have we seen our finest hour? Good times surely will come. And all through the night I wondered and waited.
Fake news. Boston wrestling is fake news.
Divided we fall to wait here for you, holding it together, just like a desert flower, waiting on the rain to come. And all I know is annualized confusion. And what I'm saying is you don't realize what this means. Have we seen our finest hour? Good times surely will come. Just like a desert flower, waiting on the rain to come.
Well, hello, everybody. Once again, it's Mr. USA WWE Hall of Famer, WBBG Bodybuilding Hall of Fame. See, a lot of people don't realize that I was inducted in two Hall of Fame. One is the World Bodybuilding Guild, which was for my bodybuilding achievement. The other one, as you all know, is the WWE Wrestling Hall of Fame. But like I said in the last episode, I've just been blessed, and I want to thank my country, my God, and everybody for, you know, for everything that I've got in my life, and my mother for working so hard, and a lot of the wrestlers, even now, a lot of the guys uh, uh, helped me a lot. Wrestling have changed so much over the years. I'm going to go back eventually to the good old days of pro wrestling, but I was kind of blessed to have some experience, in the moving up the ladder a little bit. I remember when I figured my wrestling career was all over. I was promoting shows up here. I was partnered with a lady by the name of Amanda Storm. This was right back in the 90s. No, 2002. I think her and I we got together and started running some shows up here. So I used to preach to all the guys about how wrestling should be, and this and that. And I was kind of not so much into wrestling as much as I was as a kid. And I remember when Vince McMahon called me back. The first time he called back was in 1990 to do Saba Simba. Now Saba Simba took an air. Saba Simba debuted, believe it or not, the same night as The Undertaker did. I remember walking into the dressing room at Vince McMahon Jr. said, Tony, wrestling have changed a lot since you was last involved. And I go, but that's not how much of it could change. Can't change that much, which it did. Yeah, I found out that I was like a beginner. So I did the Saba Simba thing for about 8 months. I, to be honest with you, I kind of enjoy it. It gave me an opportunity to challenge myself to do something, that I never did before. I never, you know, even though part of my descendants is African, I just never played that gimmick before. So I try to be as much like Kamada as possible, because to me Kamada was the best Africa gimmick that I ever see. So I tried to do as much as Kamada as I can. But then one day McMahon came up to me and he said, "When you walk to the ring, I see Saba Simba. But as soon as the bell rang and the match began, I see Tony Atlas." So even though the idea was given to Vince by J.J. Dillon, And what Saba Simba mean was 7 lions. And J.J. Dillon came up with the idea. I think he was the booker during that time.
He was an assistant booker.
Yeah, he was the assistant
Because
booker.
everything is Vince's.
Yeah, but it was Vince, but he was the assistant booker. So he came up with the idea to use Tony Atlas as Saba Simba. I didn't know this until probably about really this year when I was talking to J.J. Dillon. He would tell me the program. Well, that lasted for a little while, and so Vince told me, he said, "Well, I have to let you go. It didn't do what we expected it to do because in today's time, in the older days, it went by how much the people like it. If the people like it, the promoter did it. But what I learned when I went back to wrestling, the people could like it, but your ratings, your television ratings for people that buy commercials and people that put the commercial on, they want to see their ratings go up every week. And if you don't bring them ratings up, then they would put somebody else in that spot because you got to realize when you're on a WWE television station, that's a very very big market. The market is huge there. So they want to have the best talent they could possibly put there. Unfortunately for Tony Atlas, I have pretty much by the time I got Saba Simba, I have outlived most of my most useful years. But nevertheless, the WWE gave me the opportunity. No, it was WWF then. It wasn't no
Yes.
WWE. It was still WWF. So the WWF gave me opportunity. World Wrestling Federation gave me the opportunity at that time, to kind of rekindle myself. Then later on, I turned around and I went to WCW. Now, people talk about Vince all they want. WCW, I felt, didn't do me right. First of all, they brought me in, they wanted to be a bad guy. And they wanted me to wrestle against Ron Summers, the first black world champion. So they got me to get on TV and call Ron Summers all type of name, moon cricket, porch monkey. I called him all, stupid names. Look at back on it. They wanted to be racist, but they figure if they get a black guy to say racist thing, then they can't get in trouble for it. Then one day they came to me and said, "Hey Tony, we can't use you on TV no more because you're using racist things." I said, "Well, y'all the one that told me to do it." But I was stupid enough, like I say, I take responsibility for what I do. I was stupid enough to fall for it. Then they had me to wrestle Vader and Sting and cut more people. I didn't win any matches. I was pretty much like a big overgrown uh, jobber. And then finally, I got released from the uh, WCW. But I was okay with that. I made good money with Vince, and I made good money with WCW, and I had a good wife that took care of me and made sure that you know, that I was okay. She got me to go back to school and get my certification as a trainer, a personal trainer, and which is what I still do right now today. The second time that I came in was right after I got inducted into 2006 Hall of Fame. And I'm sure y'all hear the story about me and CM Punk. The story been exaggerated uh, over the years about what was said and what wasn't said. But later on, I took and walked up to CM Punk and I thanked him. And the reason I thanked CM Punk because I was in the wrong. What he's saying was right and what I was saying wrong. I was talking about that I was talking to y'all for the last month about the good old days, how wrestling should be, not the way wrestling is. And it went back to 1990 when Vince McMahon said, "Tony, the business have changed a lot since you was last here." Well, sure enough, Vince didn't lie. The business have changed a lot. And I had to learn the business all over again. It was like my first day in a dressing room. The only thing that was different, I didn't have to shoot with guys like Carl Gotch and stuff of that nature, or fight Sweet Hanser. The tough guy image was long, long, long gone. And it was all about entertainment, entertaining the fan. So Vince tried me out in different things to see if he could find a spot for me. The first thing that he had me to do is drive down to Connecticut, and they wanted a guy named George, real tall referee, uh, took me to Connecticut and wanted me to be an announcer. Well, My problem was with my bad English, I couldn't say half of them names. You know, these guys don't have names like Joe and John and Jim, you know, something I can easily pronounce. They had all these fancy names, and I just screwed up every name that came my way. So the announcer my partner announcer doing the same thing Larry do with Tony. No, is this. So Vince found out that is not going to work out for us. So then uh, he's going to make me a goodwill ambassador. So then I had to go. I played golf with Sergeant Slaughter and went places doing, you know, the Make a Wish Foundation because people don't realize this, but every year uh, the WWE do a lot of charity work. You know, they work with to Make a Wish Foundation. They work with Taser. In fact, the Taser program that I just showed you that was with WWE. So they do a lot of work. You know, I don't know if they still do it or not because I'm not there. They used to go to visit the troops in Iraq every year. You know, they tribute to the troop. They show their support for those that fight to give us freedom. So there's a lot of good things that McMahon is doing for wrestling that I think is really really good. I just wish that Vince Jr. had more control over the business back in my day because he got a very good program. The programs he got now for the wrestler, a lot of wrestlers that had died of drug abuse and a lot of stuff would not have happened to him because you know he regulated that stuff, so we would never be able to do then. But I wouldn't want to like working for him because I had fun then. I mean, you don't have no fun now. You know, you safe. You want to have no OD or nothing. You want to get drunk. We don't have no damn fun. If we have fun. We got a little stupid with it, but if nevertheless we have fun. Vince took all the fun out of wrestling. You know, it's a business now. You know, no more fun. No more laughing and joking in the dressing room. You know, no more taking girls to your room. You can't sit on the toilet and get a head job no more. It took all the fun out of wrestling. I mean, you know, Larry laughs, but it's true. You know, we have fun. I mean, guys said we ain't made no money, but we had a good ass time. Now the guys making all type of money, but they're miserable as shit. You know, nobody's happy there no more. They can't have no fun. You can't do nothing no more. One time I got on a freaking bus to go to the airport. You know when they had the shuttle to take you to the airport, the hotel. Well, my flight left, and the people with the airline, the stewardesses and the pilot, they got on they had a bus for them. So I said, hey, can I hop on this bus? Because I don't want to miss my flight. I like to get to the airport at least 2 hours before my flight. Because then one time you got to take your shoes off and go through all that security. So I didn't want to miss my flight. So the bus driver said, the guy that drove the van said, no, we can't do that. It's for the airline. And it's lucky for me, one of the pilots said, oh, let him get on the bus. So the next day, the guy was taking that same morning, the guy was taking Chief J Strongboat and a couple more guys to the airport. And they said, oh man, we had the guy said, oh, we had this big black guy got on. And he wanted to get on the bus. He said, I told him no. He said, I was hoping I didn't have to fight him because he was so big and everything. And he said, what did he say? He said, well, one of the airline guys took and say he could ride with us, but I didn't know how to tell the guy he couldn't ride on that bus. He was just joking about it, you know. Yeah. He'll make a joke like, almost took him down. You know, he was just joking. So anyway, he told it to Chief J Strongbow. Chief J Strongbow told it to Vince Jr. I get to the building that night. Here comes Chief. Tony, you got to talk on the phone. I said, oh, okay. You got to apologize. Apologize for what? To the shuttle driver for what you did. I said, what the hell did I do? I said, I just asked him, can I go on the bus? He told me no. The pilot said I could go. What's the big deal? Well, you know, we can't have no problem with these hotels to give us a good deal and stuff. So you have to call and apologize. So I called the guy. The guy answered and said, hey. And when I was the phone, the guy said, hey, you want me to beat you up? I said, oh, no. I don't, the guy's joking with me. You want me to beat you up? And I said, well, I'm sorry. He said, sorry for what? He said, you made my freaking day. You know, he said, I told the story to everybody.
It was just cheap bait.
That and cheap. But that's how the WWE is now. You could fart and somebody complained about it. Vince would fire you. Hey, Tony was farting. He was. He fired him. You mean I can't fart in the dressing room? Fine. He fought in the dressing room. You could use the toilet. Hey, Tony didn't give a courtesy flush. Fine.
I wouldn't be working there.
But that's what it turned to. Like he told me, the business have changed so much. When I first went back with my man here, my man Mark Henry. Now I like Mark Henry. I like Mark Henry a lot. There was a guy called John Laurinaitis. He was I guess the booker there or whatever he was. Talent agent.
Relation.
Yeah, relation. They call
He's
it talent relation, but we call him the booker now. Talent relation, all them fancy names. So Mark was going to the gym with me, doing everything. What they did every week, they would have Mark Henry to come in and they're gonna weigh him. So Mark, the first week, Mark don't lose no weight. They pull me aside. Tony, he ain't lost no weight. He gotta lose weight. If he don't lose weight, your career here is over. Only been there for a week. So I go, see, a lot of people don't know when they brought me back when I was managing Mark Henry, they didn't bring me back to be Mark Henry manager. They brought me back to be Mark Henry trainer. They wanted Mark Henry to lose weight because they was afraid that Mark Henry was going to have a heart attack or have a stroke or something in the ring. They wanted Mark Henry to lose weight because they was all into the body, having the body. They wanted to have that bodybuilder look, even though that ain't Mark Henry. Mark Henry's a big, robust looking man. He's not a bodybuilder. So they want me to take Mark to the gym all the time. And every 2 or 3 days they come up with that damn scale. They want to weigh Mark. And then they give me crap about it. Well, so much crap that I started giving Mark Henry crap. Stupid. So one day, Johnny pulled me in the office. He said, Tony, I'm telling you for the last time, if Mark Henry don't lose no weight, you're going to lose your job. I'm telling you, we're going to let you go if Mark Henry don't lose no weight. Mark Henry started off at 438 pounds. Now he's down to he only lost 7 or 8 pounds. You're a trainer, you got to do more of that, you got to do more of that, you got to do more of that. And I said, well, he's going to take time. He's not going to be, this ain't going to take a couple of months. It isn't like the first week. And then the first month, they're all over about him not losing enough weight. He's not losing enough weight. So, finally, I'm riding with Mark Henry and Chavo Guerrero.
Senior or junior? Because they were both there. The older.
No, it was junior.
Junior, okay.
Yeah, because he was AEW now. I saw.
Yep.
He was AEW, so that got to be junior. Senior was retired by then. But anyway, I got a picture with Senior and Ronnie Piper right before he passed. Anyway, make a long story short, I said, Mark, I got to order you some food. Mark Henry being a nice guy and everything, go ahead. You can order the food for us. So I ordered chicken salad, bowl of fruit. They bring the chicken salad out. They bring out the bowl of fruit. Mark Henry ain't saying nothing because he think it's for me. Because I ordered me a meatball sub. I ain't on no diet. Ain't nobody telling me to lose no weight. I want a meatball sub. And I got me some, I got my meatball sub. Chavo ordered some shrimp scampi or something. So they set that chicken salad in front of Mark Henry. Now here's a 430-some pound man that been riding all day long and he's starving halfway up and wrestling, working out and running. I give him chicken salad. Mark Henry said, what is that for? He said, that's for you, Mark. Mark Henry said, Tony, cut it out. You go here now. You cut it out. I don't want to hear about no chicken salad. You eat that yourself. He said, I want what you want. I want the meatballs salad. Mark, you can't have no meatball salad. You got to eat salad. Are you gonna tell me how to eat now? I said, yeah, Mark. They told me I gotta tell you how to eat. It's my job to tell you how to eat. It ain't your job to tell me how to eat. I've been on this earth long enough to eat. I don't need you to tell me how to eat. I said, Mark, you gotta eat your salad. Mark said, I ain't your fucking kid. I said, Mark, eat your salad. Mark here came up from that table. Stood up. I ain't eating no salad. I want some food. I said, ma'am, give him what he wants. Whatever he wants. So I saw Johnny at TV the other day. Johnny said, "Well, you get Mark to change his diet." I said, "No." Well, why not? I said, "I don't have a death wish." I said, "One thing I learned, you don't stand in between a 400-pound man that could bench press you, your car, and your house and tell him what to eat." I said, "Y'all had 10, 15 years to tell Mark Henry how to eat. And y'all want me to come in here in one day, in 1 month, and try to change everything about Mark Henry." I said, "I'm not doing it no more." So then they separate me and Mark Henry. Now, Mark Henry was, oh my goodness. I sit here and I tell you guys about how strong I was, how strong Sweet Hansel was, how strong Ted Arcidi was. I ain't never seen nothing like Mark Henry. Mark Henry never took a steroid a day in his life. You know, just brute, 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 brute freaking strength. I don't know if y'all saw this or not. When he got on TV and take that cast iron frying pan. Now I got a cast iron frying pan. And he taking it and rolling up like rolling up paper. I never seen that before. I mean, Kim Patera was strong, but not like Mark Henry. We was in Europe, and at the end of every tour, Undertaker, gentleman, very gracious gentleman of a person. After we leave one uh, country to go to another, let's say we're in Germany, and we get ready to leave Germany and go to Austria. Well, before we leave Germany, Taker would pull out a bottle of whiskey. I don't know what it was, and now we would have our toast. Little glass. Everybody have a shot. To say so salute. You give a toast after every time. So Undertaker, being a nice person, he's going to invite the bus driver to have a toast with him. He's been driving us all over Germany. So the bus driver forgot to turn the lights off. He turned the bus off, but he left the lights on. Well, when we came back, the battery was dead.
Oh.
So the only way to get it started was to kick start it. Which means you have to push it.
I know what we're going.
We have to push it in order for him to kickstart the bus. So all the guys got off the bus, and I started to get up, and then I looked, I saw Mark Henry getting off. So I sat back down. And all the guys, I looked out the window, Mark Henry is leaning up against, it's like a little rail or something there. Now, all these arenas or coliseum in Europe, if you ever go into any coliseum, when you go in, you go down the ramp. Going in, the ramp goes down. Coming out, the ramp goes up because the parking is in the basement. It's just like your basement. You go up out of the basement. If your basement, like my house, underneath the house, so the bus has to go uphill, not downhill. So the guys back there, uh, they all was pushing Shelter Benjamin, MVP, Shelter Benjamin, Sheamus, everybody out pushing the bus. They push up the hill, the bus roll back. They push up the hill, the bus roll back. Mark Henry sitting there looking at us like this. I'm sitting on the bus looking at Mark Henry. So finally, Mark Henry just got tired. He got up, tell everybody, y'all move out the way. So they all got out the way. Mark Henry put his back up against that bus and started pushing it by himself. Then he flipped around real fast and started pushing this bus uphill. I'm sitting there like, holy shit. So they got kicked out of the bus. Now we get back on the bus. The MVP saw me sitting there. He gonna give me shit. Hey, where were you? I said, brother, I would have done just as good as you did pushing that bus. Nothing. I said, the only thing I was gonna do is get in Mark Henry way. That's Mark Henry. I said, all I was gonna do is get in Mark Henry way. I said, all y'all were doing out there getting in his way. I said, what happened when y'all got out the way? When Mark Henry pushed the bus. Then we'd be driving down the street in Europe, and most of the streets in Europe is real narrow. So the bus had to go in all these little narrow streets. They got these little cars parked everywhere. So one day the bus go to turn a corner and he can't. He backed up, can't turn the corner. So the bus driver, I guess the word got out about Mark Henry. Mark was sitting on the bus. All of a sudden the bus driver would stop. And Natalia Neidhart, she said, Mark, Mark, get up. Mark, walk up front. Mark, get off the bus. Mark, go to the car. He grabbed the back end of the car. He set the back end on the sidewalk. He goes to the front of the car. He set the front of the car on the sidewalk. He get back on the bus. Everybody say, "Thank you, Mark," and we make the turn. That's Mark Henry.
Oh, wow.
Now, I'll probably get beat up for telling this story.
Uh-oh.
You remember I used to talk about how Andre the Giant fought? A 1 minute fox. Well, like I said, I'm gonna get beat up for this story. The Big Show was no different. And when them guys that big, when they fought, the older stayed minutes, sometimes even an hour after they do it. It ain't like our fights. When you take out like Andre the Giant and the Big Show when they fought, imagine 5 people fighting at the same time. That's what you get. Well, there was ladies on the bus, and Mark Henry was raised to be he's a very respectable person when it comes to women. Very respectable. He was raised that way. He's from Texas. So, Southern hospitality. So Big Show cut a fight one day on the bus. We was in Europe. And that thing stunk for about 45, 50 minutes. I mean, we let down the window, put on the air conditioner. Nothing get rid of that fight. The women were gagging. Well, Mark Henry didn't mind it for himself too much, or the guys, but he didn't like the position that he would put the girls in. So Mark Henry go to the Big Show. He said, "Look, I don't want you fighting no more on this bus. That's disrespectful for these women." Big Show said, "Okay, Mark, I'm not going to fight no more." So this went on about 2 or 3 days. No fighting on the bus. One morning, we're leaving a town early in the morning, like 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. Big Show get on the bus, and he doing this. Get on the bus, go. He's looking to see if Mark Henry on the bus. Then he stood at the door and he let one go. Boom! Then he went back in the back, started laughing. Everybody go, oof, oof, oof. All of a sudden, this girl, she married to Miz now.
Maurice,
she married to Miz now. Maurice go, "Here come Mark." Everybody look toward the window. Big Show is in the back. When Maurice say, "Here come Mark," Big Show go, because he didn't expect Mark to be out so soon. So here Mark walking with his head down, just like this. He gets on the bus. His head still down. All of a sudden, as soon as he stepped on the bus, Mark had to do this. He smelled it. Then he turned and looked at Big Show. Big Show sitting there like this, his eyes big as 256 piece. Mark Henry took off towards the back for the Big Show. Big Show jumped off the bus. He missed all them steps. He didn't hit not one step. Not one step. Mark Henry grabbed him, picked him up, and said, "I told you not to do that." They talked for a while. Big Show got back on the bus. Mark Henry got back on the show. Big Show didn't fight no more. And I asked him one time, I said, "How strong is Mark?" He said, "Mark wrestled trying not to hurt people." He said he got the hardest job in the business. Because Mark have to try not to hurt you. That's why he couldn't get over as big as he should have. Because he don't know his own strength. He was just so powerful. Such a powerful man that when he got in the ring, Mark would try not to hurt you because he's so strong. I mean, he could just pick you up and do whatever he want with you anytime he want. Now, Mark Henry was what's called a weightlifter. Now, Mark Henry, a weightlifter, lifts the weights from the floor to the shoulders over the head. Power lifters do bench press, squats, and deadlift. So I'm going to take Mark to the gym and I'll teach him bodybuilding. So Mark Henry said, "What we going to do today, coach?" He playing with me. Me and him got along real good. I like Mark. He liked me too. Lucky for me, he beat the shit out of me. But anyway, he liked me for some reason. I'm glad he did. I said, "We're going to start our bench pressing." He said, "Okay." So I put 135 pounds on the bar. I did it 10 times to warm up. I said, "Okay, Mark, you're set. Tony, put some weight on that." I said, "Okay." So I put another 45 pounds. Now we're up to 225. I got down. I did some reps with it. Come on, Mark, you're set. Tony, if you don't put no weight on that, I'm leaving. So I put another 45 pounds. Now we're up to 315 pounds. Now I wasn't as strong then as I am now. So I mean I wasn't as strong, at that time I was in my early years. So I got about 2 or 3 reps with that 315. And this guy ain't even started yet. And I'm about ready to say, shit, what do you want? So I throw 405 pounds on the arm. I said, Mark, what about now? He looked over. He said, yeah, that's good for a warm up. That's good for a warm up. 405 pounds. That's what he started off with at the bench. We went to do curls. I started with the 30-pound dumbbell, did 10, went to the 40, did 10, went to the 50s, did 10, went to the 70s, did about 6 or 7 with 70-pound dumbbell. Mark Henry started off with the 80-pound dumbbells. First set, 80-pound dumbbell. Like nothing. Like absolute nothing. He got to be one of the most natural, gifted lifters, strongmen that I've seen in my life. It's just natural strength. I mean, like I say, he never took steroids a day in his life. He never bodybuild or power lift. But I mean, he deadlift over 900 pounds, squatted 900 pounds. I sat there myself and watched him do 500 pounds like it was, you know, like I do 135. Then I see him bend steel bars, push Greyhound buses, lift up 500-pound men and throw them like they ain't nothing. But yet, with all of Mark Henry's power, with all of his great strength, with all of his great athletic ability, 400-pound man slam dunk a basketball. How many 400-pound men 6'4", 400 pounds could slam dunk a basketball? I know one, Mark Henry. There was only one thing bigger and stronger and greater in the WWE than Mark Henry. Hog swallow. Mark couldn't beat a midget. That's why I say earlier, they take all the reality out of it. Fitz Finley, yeah, he's a tough guy. Matt Bourne, yeah, he's a tough guy. Evan Bourne, he's a tough guy. But Mark Henry couldn't beat him. Made no damn sense to me. That was the most misuse of talent I have ever seen in this business. I used to tell Mark Henry all the time, I said, brother, it's a shame you wasn't around in the 70s. Because nobody could believe somebody could beat friggin' Mark Henry. You got to be on stupid pills to believe that these guys could beat friggin' Mark Henry. Oh, yes, you go. You got to be taking fucking stupid pill to believe that Evan Bourne, 160 freaking pound guy, could beat freaking Mark Henry. But they had Mark Henry putting over Evan Bourne. They had Mark Henry putting over Matt Hardy. Now, Matt is a bitch. He's not a wimp. I'm not taking nothing from Matt Hardy, but he ain't no freaking Mark Henry. You know? If they have really used him the way that they should have used him. I mean, Mark made money. Don't get me wrong. He did good for himself. Mark is a great family man. He loves his family, loved his family. Me and him ride up and down the road. The only thing that Mark Henry ever talked about on the road was his wife and family. He didn't talk about women's or nothing like that. He didn't talk about the business. Never discussed wrestling with me at all. Never. We never talked wrestling. It was all about his family. He said, last time I saw Mark Henry a couple months ago, he would tell me, hey, Tony, my son did this, my son did this, my daughter's doing this, my daughter's doing this, my wife is doing it. That's all Mark Henry ever talked about was his family. Love his family a lot. And a couple of times he got a little frustrated. He wanted to tell them go F themselves. And I said, Mark, don't do what I did. Think about your wife, think about your family. And that's what kept Mark Henry. That's why Mark Henry laid down for Hog Swallow. That's why he laid down for Matt Bourne. That's why he laid down for Evan Bourne, Jeff Hardy. All these little bit of guys that Mark Henry could have plucked and defeated. But he done that for his family. And he held his head up high. But he's a great worker. Now I'll tell you something else people don't know much about Mark Henry that I know, that they're gonna surprise you even, Larry. Mark Henry know more about old time wrestling than I do.
Wow.
Yes. We used to have conversation about these guys, and Mark Henry know every one of them. He could tell you all about Danny Hart. He could tell you all about Vern Gagne. He could tell you about any wrestler you ever talk about. Mark Henry is the type of, he's a very, 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 other than being strong, Mark Henry is a very, most of the most intelligent men I've ever met. He's very smart. Don't underestimate that big, strong, powerful man because his brain is just as big and just as strong as his body is. He knows everything about old school wrestling. And he was admitted himself. I hope I won't get him in trouble. Say that he said, "Tony, I wish I broke into business during your day." And I said, "Mark, they would have treated you right." Mark Henry in the '70s, he would have been like Andre the Giant. He would have been like Bruiser Brody. He would be traveling to Japan, this place, that place, putting on straight edge business. They would have really built him up. So I would say one of the wrestlers that is, I got a action figure of Mark Henry and I put him right beside Andre the Giant because they were the two men that I met in this business that I felt I couldn't whoop. I never even thought about fighting Mark Henry. I mean, I fussed at him a lot. I mean, I got on his nerves real bad. Some got on so bad, Mark Henry a couple of times. He used to tell me all the time, "Tony, shut up. I'm gonna choke you. I'm gonna choke you. I'm gonna choke you." But he never choked me because he's respectful to his elders. He looked at me as his elders. So he's not a guy to jump on some old man that definitely could not defend himself against Mark Henry. Don't even think I'm going to do anything, Mark Henry. I was some of the fans that, "Oh, I want you to have a match. I'd like to see you and Mark Henry wrestle." I look at him and say, "Why you want to get me hurt? What you got against me? I want to be on his side. I don't want to be against no damn Mark Henry."
How about a tag match?
Well, we did a tag match. Me and Mark Henry, we took on Finley and Hogswallow.
Oh, Jesus.
That was Vince's idea of teaming me and Mark Henry against. Finley is a tough guy. Don't get me wrong. Finley is tough, 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 like you would not believe. Now, Finley could hold his own against me. In fact, Finley would kick my ass back in the day. Finley, tough, tough, tough. I ain't saying I can whoop Finley. I mean, ain't been a guy wanted to mess with Finley, even now.
Well, you could take Hornswoggle.
I could whoop Hornswoggle, but not on the WWE television. I could have whooped Hornswoggle. I just know I could have been Little Louis. I think I whooped too. Lord Littlebrook, I could whoop. Moolah would have kicked my ass.
Yeah, she tough.
Moolah was tough. Moolah would have kicked Mae Young.
I was gonna say
Mae Young would have wiped up the table. I couldn't whoop no Mae Young now. But you see, that's what I was saying. A lot of things about wrestling that don't make sense to the fans because I think they I don't know what they do, to be honest with you. It don't make no sense. Guys in my day, if you was Andre the Giant or Sweet Hanser or Angela Moscow or Blackjack Mulligan, there's no way in the world they would have had Blackjack to lay in the ring and have Lord Littlebrook to pin it. They would have done have no midget, nothing against midget wrestlers, but they would have no midget beating Blackjack Mulligan.
No.
Andre the Giant would have not lost no match to not even Ric Flair could have beat Andre the Giant. And to me, Ric Flair was the greatest wrestler, the greatest performer wrestler I've ever seen. I mean, I'll put Ric Flair against anybody they ever had in wrestling. They never had a guy like Ric Flair before. Never will again. Guys like Ric Flair come along like once every blue moon. Guys like Mark Henry come along once every blue moon. I really think Mark Henry was really, really never was pushed to his full potential or used to his full potential. But he did okay because he's smart. He saved his money. He invested his money. He bought stock, shares, and property. He didn't run up down the road and chase women. He took care of his wife and family the same way Tito Santana did. Tito didn't run around getting drunk, getting stoned. Mark Henry didn't go to bars and drink himself into oblivion or anything like that. When we got through with the match, Mark Henry would go somewhere and get something to eat. That's what he's all about. Tell them home, let's go eat. Okay, Mark, we gonna eat. Then he go to his room, call his wife, get up next morning, eat a small breakfast, hit the gym, hit the road, go eat. That was Mark Henry. I loved traveling with him. I learned a lot from him. And he was gracious, very gracious man. He treated me like, I told him one time, Mark, I said, I feel like uh, uh, I see you as my son. Mark Henry said, I see you more as a big brother than a father, which was an honor. Because, we rode together, we traveled together, we worked out together. And at that time, like I say, I wish I could have worked out with him when I was in my heyday, when I was able to bench press 500-600 pounds. I think I would have impressed Mark Henry a little bit. But when I met Mark Henry, my bench was between 375 and 400 back in 2008, was it? Yeah, 2008. So then Vince McMahon being well, it wasn't Vince. This guy here, I call him my mentor, John Morrison. He was tag team at the time with the Miz. Well, anyway, John Morrison wanted to make fun of me and Mark Henry. So Mark Henry wasn't sweating. Mark Henry used to dump water on himself to make it look like he was sweating. When he came out the ring, he was all looked like he was sweating. He would squirt himself with the water bottle and make it, 'cause it add to his gimmick. So anyway, make a long story short, they did this tape one day, uh, talk about Mark Henry sweating, and say, if you ever, Jim Morrison, you ever hear Tony Atlas laugh? So they did that on this little tape. Next thing I know, they have what they call when they do the trading.
The draft?
The draft. The draft. They're going to do the draft. So on the draft, they drafted Mark Henry, took him off of SmackDown and put him on Raw or something. And I'm sitting there. Mark is going to Raw, you know, and this guy going to SmackDown. I'm still sitting there. So they saw me to ECW. So I'm at ECW. Mark left ECW and gone to SmackDown or Raw. So I said, shit, what they going to do with me? Next thing I know, they put me on the Abraham Washington show. And I said, what I'm going to do on Abraham Washington? They said, when Abraham says something, you just laugh. Just do the laugh. So Abraham would say something, I go, ha, 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 ha. He says something again, ha, ha, ha. You ever hear the old saying, laughing all the way to the bank?
Yep. No bumps.
I've done that.
No bumps.
No bumps. I laughed for a year. I laughed all the way to the bank for a whole year. People say, oh, Vince making fun of you, making look stupid. But he paid me to be stupid. He paid to make fun of me. So I didn't care, because I was making a living. And John Morrison, he was the one that helped me to understand. And you asked John Morrison, he would tell you something. He's the one that helped me to understand the new wrestling business. That it wasn't about reality no more. What it was about is entertaining the people, putting ads in the seat, and keeping the ratings up. Getting back to like Carl Gotch, like I said, Carl Gotch was probably one of the toughest men in this business I've ever seen. But he couldn't put butts in the seat. He couldn't draw money like Gorgie George, Ric Flair, Ricky Steamboat, Harley Race. These guys could put butts in the seat.
Back then, Buddy Rogers.
Yeah, Buddy Rogers, all these guys, Pat Patterson, Ray the Crippler Stevenson. These guys were what we call good drawing cards. They was able to draw money. They just had that certain charisma about them that could draw money. Like I was saying earlier, Bob Backlund he was a great champion in my book, one of the best. But Bob Backlund did not have the drawing power, even with the same push, as Hulk Hogan did. He didn't have the drawing power that Randy Savage had. Animal and Hulk had great drawing power. There was groups that were bigger and stronger, but they didn't have that certain thing about them that made people want to pay to see them. In professional wrestling, being a great athlete, it takes a lot more than just being a good athlete. Some of the best wrestlers, if you're just old timer, some of the best wrestlers in the older days was jobbers. You know, they lost every night. Bill Howard, nobody talking about him. Charlie Fulton. These guys were Bill White. These guys was great wrestlers. Bill White was one of the toughest, roughest guys. He was a tough guy, but a great worker too, and a great performer. But they couldn't draw money with Bill White. They couldn't draw money with Bill Howard or Charlie Fulton. You know, they tried to use Charlie Fulton in many, many ways. He didn't pack the bill in. Don Canuta, great wrestler, tough guy. In fact, Don Canuta got into business being tough. There was a shooter by the name of Bob Root in Florida. And what Bob Root used to do is you challenge people out the audience. And if you can stay in the ring with Bob Root for a certain amount of time, you get to win something. Well, he got Don Canuta in the ring. Don Canuta had a great amateur background, and Bob Root couldn't beat him. And then after the time ran out, Bob Root said, if we had went one more minute, that kid would have beat me. Tough, tough guy. But he didn't have the drawing power that Ric Flair had. I was big, strong, muscular, everything. But I didn't have the drawing power that JYD had. I remember that when that music started with JYD, boom, 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 boom. Another one bite the dust, boom, boom. Another one bite the dust, boom, boom. Another one bite. The people went nuts.
It was even crazier in Mid-South.
They went freaking crazy.
It was in Mid-South.
Oh my God! When he was in Mid-South, Larry reminded me. I mean, they just went absolutely nuts. Now Ted DiBiase was a better worker than Dog ever wished to be.
Oh yeah.
But in Mid-South, Dog was the biggest draw. Buck Rowley was a hell of a wrestler, but not to the standards of JYD. He just had it. There was another black wrestler by the name of Thunderbolt Patterson. And Thunderbolt just electrified audience. If any of y'all could ever see any of the matches of Thunderbolt, this is where I got the move from. I stole it from Thunderbolt. Yes, I stole. Yeah, I did it. Thunderbolt do that. Right. All them. And in fact, Dusty Rhodes stole some of Thunderbolt stuff. A lot of wrestlers say it wasn't for Thunderbolt Patterson, Dusty Rhodes never made a quarter. Because he started off as outlaw, him and Dick Murdoch. Yep. They had this cowboy gimmick, this redneck gimmick. And then Dusty broke loose and started doing the Thunderbolt stuff. Everything Dusty do, the ass shaking, the face move, all that came from Thunderbolt Patterson. Thunderbolt Patterson was the man that created it. But before Thunderbolt, another guy used to do that called Bearcat Wright. He was another guy that did all that stuff.
Vince just gave Keith Lee, Keith Lee.
Keith Lee
just gave him the nickname Bearcat.
Oh, wow.
I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
Well, if he could work like Bearcat, yes, because Bearcat only problem was he was dating white girls at the wrong time. He walked in with that white woman on his arm. That killed his career. He liked their white women, This was like in the 70s. This guy ran around with a white woman, In 1970, in North Carolina, a black man running around with a white woman hanging on his arm. That was not a good thing for him to do, but he did it anyway. But getting back to what I was saying, guys like Mark Henry would have made so much money. So much money. And I think Mark got the great drawing power too, if he's programmed in a right way. But they wrote him a script. The writers never got to know Mark Henry. I used to tell them all the time we were out down the road, I said, Mark Henry, if the wrestling fan knew you as well as I do, you sell out every building in the world. You'd be bigger than Hogan, Undertaker, all of them, if they really knew Mark Henry, what they were paying to see. But they downplayed Mark Henry in many, many, many ways. They never turned him loose. Never turned him loose. He was like a caged Kodiak bear that was never got out in the wilderness to be himself. They kept him very confined and didn't allow him to do what he could do, But that was my experience coming back into the wrestling with managing Mark Henry and Abraham Washington show. It was a great experience. I say this uh, 1,000 times. A lot of people always ask me this. This is Christmas coming up pretty soon. They always talk about race problem in wrestling. There's no race problem. None. Promoters don't care about the color of your skin. You can be black, white, purple, green. If you can put asses in a seat, that promoter going to push you. Never been there's no such thing as discriminating in the wrestling world according to race. They go by the numbers. If you can put butts in the seat, you're on top. You can't put butts in the seat, you either on the bottom or you're out of that.
The only color that matters is green.
Is green in the wrestling. But I tell you what I have saw, but no more. In the older days now, and I'm gonna get more into this later on, I saw a lot of sexism. The women up until later never got the opportunity that the guys got. The first woman that I ever seen in this business that got promoted, the same as a guy, was Wendy Richter. She was the first. Then they backed off. Wendy Richter was the first woman that got a proper push in the business. They screwed her at the end by putting the title back on Muda with that fast cap like they did Bret Hart. She got screwed at the end, but at least she opened up the doorway. Now, just to give you an idea how hard thing was for women in the wrestling business, nobody knew Muda or Mae Young until they became senior citizens. They were senior citizens by the time they got any recognition in this business. My first time meeting Mula, she had a wrestling school in Columbus, South Carolina, and they was going to have a big show in Charlotte, North Carolina. And back then they used to do a Thanksgiving show. They used to do a Thanksgiving show. Larry's giving me the number. How much time is that,
10
Larry?
minutes.
10 minutes. I can tell this in 10 minutes. They were going to do a Thanksgiving show. So I'm at the big Coliseum there. The guy said, "Oh, we got to get somebody to go to the airport, pick up Dusty Rhodes. Got to somebody go to the airport, pick up Terry Funk. Somebody got to go to the airport, pick up Andre the Giant. Somebody got to go to the airport, pick up this guy, pick up that guy, pick up that guy." Now, Muda was a world champion. She drove. They didn't say no special treatment for her. And then I looked in her car, I remember that time, and it saw all the wrappers, from candy and sandwiches up in the dashboard. I looked in the back of her car, it looked like her closet. All of her clothes was in the back of her car. She lived in her car. Harley Race, Ric Flair got treated like kings. They were treated like world champions. The women, Muda was not. I was what's called preliminary wrestler. They took better care of the preliminary guy than they did of the women world champion. And it was like this for the longest, up until, like I say, recently, the WWE, I give them a lot of credit. This is the first time in wrestling history where they putting women, on the stage that they belong. I just hope and pray. I saw them do it with Natalia. They never pushed Natalia and show the people the Natalia I know. Natalia is not just a performer, she's a shooter. Natalia Nighthawk could whoop half of the wrestlers in real life. Believe me. She could whoop half of the guys you got in your dress room. Every wrestler knows that. You don't believe me? Ask Mark Henry, ask NF, ask Undertaker. All time say Natalia Nighthawk could whoop in real life, could whoop half of the WWE wrestlers. Males I'm talking about. Charlotte Flair is probably the best athlete in the WWE. Far none. But Natalia and Charlotte got one problem. They female. They will get a push now, but not like they would push a guy. This is a world the women don't draw. Well, how you know what a woman can do? At one time, they said black guys couldn't draw no money. Until they got JYD, Thunderbolt Patterson, Tony Atlas, and Rocky Johnson, Bobo Brazil, Sweet Daddy Secret. They would say things that what black couldn't do at one time. It was wrong. And it was wrong with the female. Luckily, Vince McMahon, like I said, a lot of people knocked Vince, but there was a lot of stuff that Vince did that his father or people before him would never even thought about doing. He did a WrestleMania not too long ago, have all the female main event?
Main event, yeah.
Me and Larry, we worked the independent show. I've been on 1,000 independent shows over the years. Maybe 10 out of 1,000, I see a woman wrestling. They don't book women on the independent show. You see a bunch of guys, you're lucky to see a woman match. You be freaking lucky to see a woman match. The only place you see a woman match right now is on TV. None of the independent promoters use women. That's been going on for years. When China left the WWF at that time, there was no WWE, WWF. She didn't end up on independent. I got booked more than China. Why is that? Rennie Richter, she don't get booked. I go to all these conventions. I don't see Rennie Richter. They bring the new girls in, but they bring in all of, shall I say, the legend of the ring. I just left there. They don't have no old women there. They got old men, old fox like me. But they didn't bring in none of the, George Graver or none of these women that wrestle or Wendy Richter. I ain't seen Wendy Richter in years. They don't book her. Why? She was world champion, but she was female. So sexism is a disease in America that we have that we need to overcome. People all talk about racism. There ain't no more racism. Y'all gonna holler at me and say I'm wrong. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. How you gonna convince me when we just got through glorifying Colin Powell? How you gonna convince me of racism when I'm a WWE Hall of Famer? Black president. Black female vice president. I'm looking at a guy on TV the other day, the top guy with the military, black guy. He ain't Irish. I feel sorry for the Irish and the Scottish. He can't get nothing no more. Boxing. I watched a football game. I almost write about the basketball game. I was going to write the NBA.
Yeah.
I call them discriminating against white people. I just watched a football game. I saw about three white guys. Not even the referee was white. I said, dang. Where is the racism? Life is what you make it. If you want to see the world in a racist way, you want to see the world in a this way or that way, yes, that's your world, but it is not reality. Reality is America is the greatest country the world has ever seen. We got a few nicks and nanging, just like I took my car to the shop just now. I got my what is that? The hose there, Larry? Power steering hose. Now the guy tell me that my radiator is leaking. So I take it back and get my radiator leaking. But it don't mean my car to throw away my car. I just fix. They go back and we can fix that. And the WWE, I gotta give them credit. They have came a long way in helping women to get their true place in the world of professional wrestling, in the world of sports. I watched the Olympics. I saw most of these women. They're doing one hell of a job, When I first went to the gym, I used to work out in a gym in Los Angeles. And we had this girl there. I don't know if she's still living or nothing. Was it just back in 1980? Her name was Pillow, like a pillow you sleep on, And she was funny. She came to the gym one day, and back in the old days, if you walk in the gym, if the bar is on 135, you have to start there. If the bar is on 225, that's where you have to start your workout. They will not strip the bar down for you. You have to jump in where it's at. So these guys had 225 pounds on the bar, As a puller looked around, I was up to 450 by the time she walked in the gym, so she didn't come to my bench. She went to the bench with the guys that had a less amount of weight. But they had 225 on the bar. So puller said, "Can I work out with you?" The guy said, "Yeah, but you have to start with the weight that on. We're not going to reduce the weight. The bar don't go down. The bar keep going up." Puller said, "I don't have no problem there." She took that 225 off and did it 10 times. The guys took the belts off, put all this stuff in their little gym bag. They left the gym. She had a bench all day. Nobody wanted to work out with her. So she could lift what the women lift. We had another girl, Larry knows this lady. Her name was Amanda Storm. She came to the gym. I had a wrestling school. So I got this idea, I'm going to make her my champion. So all my students said, you can't have no woman champion. People ain't going to believe that. I said, I'll tell y'all what. I said, the first guy that could wrestle Amanda in a shoot and beat her, you could be the champion. The show started. Amanda was still my champion. She beat all my wrestlers. She beat Luke Roberts.
Yeah.
You know that, right?
Yes, I do.
She beat that big guy. What is the guy like the big Moose?
Oh, yeah.
Moose for what? 6'9",
6'11" and a half in his bare feet.
6'11", 6'11", and 450, and Amanda Stone beat him. Couldn't believe it. He broke his toe trying to wrestle. Remember?
I wasn't on that show, but I heard, took him 45 minutes to get out of the ring.
Yeah, because she messed him up so bad.
Yeah.
This is a woman. My mom used to whoop my ass.
If you had any kind of mom, everybody's mom whooped.
That's right. So anyway,
that's called manners now.
Anyway, I want to do this before I leave. Ease over here, Larry.
Oh, I'm old, just like you. No, not
now,
just like you.
Now, lean it up. This is my buddy Larry that been helping me out a long time. He'll be Larry. Now, Larry's old Scotland, but one thing I want y'all to know before I get up there, this is Larry's birthday. So I want everybody out here to sing with me this week. What is your birthday?
December 1st.
December the 1st.
The big 5-0.
Yeah, you're going to turn 50 years old. You're going to be an old fart like me. So all of us, we're going to do this. We've got a little bit of time we got left. What we got, about 30 seconds left?
We got about 30 seconds.
30 seconds. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, my friend Larry. Happy birthday to you. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Happy birthday to Larry. And y'all keep the faith, to stand for the flag, and kneel for God, and love self and country. Thank you.